listen, if you have a Gemini or Aries sun, rising, or north node, you're going to want to listen really close to this video because we have a massive transit happening on July 9th of 2024 that's going to change the game for both of you. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Isabelle, and today I want to talk about a huge, exciting transit that I cannot wait for that is happening on July 9th of 2024 that for both Gemini and Aries can bring in massive success, but not in the necessarily career sense, more in the self-development sense, in the I'm shifting who I am, I'm thriving, and I'm receiving abundance as a result. And so in this video, I want to cover what this transit is and why specifically it's so impactful for Gemini or Aries sun, rising, or north node. I like to personally include the north node placements in the signs in my reports because I think the north node is the most important part of your chart, or at least one of the most important. Also, quick note, I'm filming this in between making myself more coffee because I'm a caffeine addict and I'm not apologizing for it. So there's going to be a lot of clips. I also have to grind my coffee by hand, and I was originally going to just film this while making my coffee, but this is really loud, I'm pretty sure. We're camping off grid, and so electricity is a no-go. Okay, so Gemini and Aries, here's why you have a massive event coming up on July 9th. On July 9th, we have a sextile, which is a positive aspect between Jupiter in Gemini and the North Node that is in Aries. I love following the Jupiter transits because I feel like it really shows us how we can tap into abundance. And as I said, I think the North Node is one of the most important placements. For Gemini, this has been a recent development for you. Jupiter only recently entered Gemini in May of 2024, the end of May. And you probably have felt like since then that you have been able to expand your sense of self. You're in the spotlight, you're thriving, or maybe even having to do massive spiritual growth to shift into more higher vibrational energies. The North Node has been in Aries since about last year. I think it actually moved into Aries pretty much exactly a year ago during the Cancer new moon. But you've probably felt like, Aries, that you've been in the spotlight in the sense of through trials recently, and you've really had to grow in the last year, especially during March when we were in eclipse season. You probably felt very challenged to step into a new version of yourself, and that is because the North Node is here. So with Jupiter being in Gemini, Gemini is being called to grow and expand, and with the North Node being in Aries, you are also being called to grow and expand. There is a subtle difference in these energies though. The North Node is everyone's highest path to growth right now, and because it's in Aries, Aries is in the spotlight in spiritual growth in the sense of doing what is uncomfortable to expand your capacity and be a new person. And Jupiter tends to be a bit of a lighter energy. It's spiritual growth and expansion, the planet of abundance. And so Gemini, since May, has probably been feeling more lighthearted, able to expand, grow, and just love life. So with Jupiter in Gemini and the North Node in Aries forming a sextile at 7 degrees, we can expect, both Aries and Gemini, and I say we because I'm an Aries, can expect to experience massive up-levelings during this time. And I know that sounds really stereotypical. I feel like a lot of astrologers do tend to say the same thing. This is a massive shift, massive time, massive growth. But truly, I do mean growth during this time because Jupiter is spiritual growth and expansion, abundance, and the North Node has to do with our growth as people, our out of our comfort zone, the unknown. And so both of these signs can expect to have really big leaps in their self-development, but also not in a uncomfortable way. Jupiter is a planet of expansion. It often represents this joyful energy in my view. And now that's not to say that it never requires effort, but it's the joy of abundance. It truly is the law of attraction. And so the law of attraction can feel like present themes right now in the sense of being rapid manifestors as well. But for both these signs, they can expect to feel the sense of leaping into a higher vibrational self. For Gemini specifically, this happens in your 1st and 11th house. Your 1st house is the house of self-identity, appearance, also known as your ascendant or rising, and that's because Jupiter is in Gemini. You can probably feel that while you've been focused since the end of May on just expanding your sense of self, up-leveling your vibration, maybe you've been more into the law of attraction, on the 9th, and maybe even the day before and after, because we can feel this energy present before then, since Jupiter moves slower and the North Node. But other than this spiritual expansion, you can expect on this day, July 9th, to feel more sense of spiritual expansion, and also as a result, more sense of meaning and purpose in your community. You may be taking the lead in your friend group, taking the lead with your community. You may be rejecting certain friend groups because they're no longer in vibrational alignment with you. Have you felt called to tell friends that you don't want to hang out with them anymore? Are you surrounded by toxic people? This could be the time for you to let those things go. I feel like I've said it a few times and I might be sounding redundant, but I really just want you guys to know this point and emphasize it, because Jupiter is spiritual growth. It is the planet of abundance. It understands that which is likened to itself is drawn. And so whatever vibration you put out is what you will receive. And this is something that you've probably been realizing since May, that you want to up level your frequency and be vibrational alignment for your desires. And now is the time for you to really reap reward off of that. And by doing so, you may experience huge chapters, that doesn't really make sense, huge jumps or leaps into further chapters in your journey. The North Node currently is like the chapters of a book for us. The book is our life, which is our birth chart and our sense of self and our unique lives and our natal North Node. But the chapters are the current North Node. And so the current North Node puts an emphasis for you on the chapter of your growth journey, your purpose journey, on how you fit into a community, what your big dreams and aspirations are, and what friends truly mean to you, because this is your 11th house. Aries is your 11th house. Of course, this is based off of sun sign, so if you are a Gemini rising, it's possible that it's a staggered house, and because I don't use whole sign, that's why I mentioned this, and it's maybe a different house for you. But overall, if you're a Gemini sun or North Node, this puts an emphasis on the journey for you with redefining friendships. And because it's in Aries, you may find that you need to be more assertive, taking the lead in friendships, maybe even experimenting with new friend groups. That could be a huge theme for you as well. You may be defining on this day a sense of self, a newly found sense of self, and by doing so, you find a friend group that truly aligns with that. Additionally, I do say big dreams and aspirations. The 11th house is not just community, it's how we see to leave an impact on the world, our biggest dreams. And so you may have realizations about what these biggest dreams are and have opportunities. This is not just a spiritual awakening in a sense, this is a physical, material reaction. This is Jupiter we're talking about, which sees that spiritual growth equals material growth. And whatever you put out there is what you're going to get. So you can expect to receive either new friend connections, opportunities for friend connections, or opportunities to chase your dreams during this time. And for Aries, this happens in your 1st and 3rd house of communications and learning. I'm personally in Aries, and I know that I'm doing a lot right now, wrapping up journeys around teaching, educating, writing, and reading. And I know this is not just because of my unique life. I know this happens to do with my astrology, and it's very likely playing out for you guys as well. If you have an Aries sun, rising, or North Node, it's very likely that you are feeling massive growth in your sense of self, feeling like that these trials that you've been put through in the last year, and especially during March of this year, are now experiencing more ease because you have been pushing yourself to learn more, and this has helped you evolve as a human. For you, Jupiter in Gemini is your 3rd house of learning, communications, writing, and neighbors, people say. And so during this time, you may find that either a sibling connection, an everyday connection, someone you see every day, could be bringing you reward spiritually, in the sense of helping you realize who you want to be, or you could be culminating a learning experience during this time. If you've been working through a course or reading a book, if you've been in some sort of intensive or workshop, this could be a time for you to finish that, and as a result, up-level your sense of self. You probably feel like during this time you're initiating a new sense of self. And this is going to feel like a huge relief, because let me tell you, even for myself, last eclipse season was hard. Capital H-A-R-D. Hard. I ended my 1-year relationship during that. I was having a crisis. I didn't know what I was doing. And this is going to, I already feel it, be so much ease in our life. But it's going to be because of the learning or the teaching we've done. So what have you been learning during this time? Have you been putting the effort into learning something that's going to make you a new person? Writing these things out could really help you during this time, because the 3rd house is the house of everyday communication. And so journaling out how you've grown, who you want to be, that could really help too. Or on the other hand, you could be more like me and you could be culminating a teaching experience during this time. I have been talking about and alluding to the fact that I am launching an astrology course that is meant for beginners and advanced astrologers, everything in between. Anyone who wants to master the stars and be an astrologer themselves, this course is for them. And if you want more info on it, comment below. But I have a feeling that I'm going to be launching this right as I'm publishing this video. I can't say exactly when, of course, because I haven't figured out the exact launch date. I'm working out some kinks in it, and I want to make sure it's truly ready for you guys so you can learn to be an astrologer. But maybe that's the end of the spectrum you are on as well during this Jupiter sextile North Node. Maybe you are culminating a teaching experience. Are you writing a book? Maybe you finish writing a book during this time. Is there a creative project that you've dropped? Is there a speaking gig that you have? This could be the time to share your story. I personally feel like the 3rd house in astrology has a lot to do in a way with the numerology 3, expression and sensitivity. And knowing what numerology year you're on now could also help with figuring out how you're best aligning with this. I know for me even, I'm on a numerology 3 journey, and that's expression and sensitivity, sharing my story. And so maybe you are sharing your story during this time. I truly do think that for those who have Aries Sun, Rising, or North Node will feel that theme as well, that you are sharing your story, because this is about you connecting to the deepest parts of yourself that you have not experienced in 18 years and rebirthing yourself, stepping into a higher vibrational being than you've been before. I personally do feel like knowing what numerology year you are on right now really does help you reap the benefit from this experience, from this sextile between Jupiter and the North Node. And knowing mine really does help me prepare for it, because I really do feel like this is a once-in-a-lifetime experience that I do not want to miss. This is Jupiter we're talking about. This is the planet of abundance. And so we really want to utilize this energy, especially because it's making aspects with the North Node, which is about our highest growth. So if you want help understanding what numerology year you are on and how to reap the benefits from this event, then book a reading in the link in the description below, where we can dive deep into your chart and what else is playing on this, because your whole birth chart comes into play as well. And it's very likely that not only are you focused on the themes I've mentioned, but there may be unique themes for you that you need to know about based off of your birth chart. So book in the link in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know in the comments below if you're feeling this energy, and be sure to share it if you found it resonated or you know another Aries or Gemini. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and stay tuned for more videos breaking down the stars and who you are. Once again, my name is Isabelle, and from my heart to yours, namaste.